Welcome, everyone. Today, we have a hot discussion about a topic that has sparked a lot of controversy: cancel culture. Is it a legitimate way to hold individuals accountable for harmful behavior? Or, as some say, is it just a form of virtual lynching? To help us understand this, we have Nia, a social activist. Nia argues that cancel culture is a legitimate way to hold people accountable for harmful actions, such as hate speech or abuse of power. She believes that social media has the power to correct historical, and Brandon, a political commentator and libertarian, who sees cancel culture as a threat to freedom of speech and individual responsibility. He believes that cancel culture is often a form of virtual lynching, where the crowd acts without clear evidence, based on impulsive reactions, and without a fair process. Let's dive deep into this debate and see what each of them has to say about this modern phenomenon.
Cancel culture isn't something new. It's just how social media has amplified a process that has always existed: accountability. Before, people needed a court or legal process to be held accountable for their actions. Today, digital platforms give us the chance to hold those who abuse their power publicly accountable, whether it's for racism, misogyny, or any other form of harmful speech.
I understand what Naya is saying, but there's a big problem here. Canceling is impulsive and punitive. Often people are judged by the crowd without a fair process, without time for defense or proper investigation. This is not justice. It's just a type of mob justice, where whoever screams the loudest wins.
Canceling has been a powerful tool for social justice. When someone like a celebrity or politician does something harmful, we can't just wait for the legal system to intervene, especially when the person has such enormous power over the narrative. Canceling allows society to have its voice heard. Look at figures like R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein. The system did nothing until society finally mobilized.
So, you're saying that canceling functions as a sort of substitute for official justice in a system where laws fail to act?
That's a misconception. Yes, the system has failed in many cases, but that doesn't mean we should create our own justice system. And of course, cancel culture doesn't take into account the context or the nuances. Often the act of canceling is done without a full understanding of the facts. The biggest problem with cancel culture is that it threatens free speech. The idea that you need to align with dominant thinking or lose your career, status, and dignity is a form of censorship. Deep down, it weakens people's ability to think critically and express opinions, no matter how unpopular they are.
Freedom of speech is crucial, of course, but freedom doesn't mean impunity. People need to be held accountable for actions that harm others, especially when they have a platform of power. If you offend or harm someone, your freedom to express that shouldn't be shielded.
But where is the line between holding someone accountable and punishing them excessively? That's what we're talking about, right? Okay, we see there's a fine line between justice and punishment. What interests me is society really equipped to determine when canceling is justified? Or is it all about who can make the most noise on social media?
I would say that society is doing what the legal system often doesn't do: correcting wrongs. And yes, there may be excess in some cases, but it's a reaction to the power some people wield without accountability. Remember, social change is never clean and always comes with resistance.
Resistance isn't the problem, Nia. The problem is that we're creating a culture where public opinion decides a person's fate without a fair trial. This can be dangerous, as we've seen with the wave of cancellations of people who, for some reason, speak out against what is politically correct.
Let's talk about the emotional and psychological impact of canceling. How does it affect a person, especially when they are attacked on a large scale without a chance to defend themselves?
This is something that even defenders of free speech worry about. Canceling not only destroys careers, but can cause deep psychological harm. People with large audiences are constantly exposed to attacks, which can affect their mental health, not to mention the social stigma.
It's true that the impact is real, but often the people who get canceled deserve it. They've harmed others in some way. We can't forget that many of these public figures are, in fact, toxic to society. What happens to them is a consequence of their behavior.
I get it, but to what extent is this consequence not an excessive punishment with no room for remorse or reconciliation?
Let's talk about J.K. Rowling. She was canceled for comments about gender issues, but this wasn't just a simple mistake of opinion. What she said affected an entire community. In this case, canceling wasn't just an act of punishment, it was a way of showing that transphobic comments are not tolerated.
I disagree. Rowling has the right to express her opinions, even if they aren't popular. The problem isn't what she said, it's how a mob came together to destroy her without room for debate. This creates a culture of fear, where people don't feel safe to express their ideas.
So, canceling can be justified, but the consequences are disproportionate?
Canceling is punishment, not a form of justice. It doesn't allow for debate or dialogue. When you cancel someone, you take away their chance to learn or redeem themselves. Instead, you exclude them, turning them into a non-person.
I see it differently. Canceling is a form of social justice. It's not just punishing, it's correcting. Many of these people have power and influence and can cause a lot of harm with their words. Canceling is how society protects itself from those harmful influences.
What happens when there's no formal trial? Are we creating a parallel justice system? And if so, who's in control of this system?
That's the issue. Canceling doesn't follow any formal process. There's no investigation, no right to defense. The accusation becomes the sentence. This is a serious problem, especially in a society that values civil rights and due process.
But what social media does is offer an alternative, where society can organize and say, this is not acceptable. What's happening on social media is often more transparent than legal processes, which can be slow and biased.
Let's talk about the role of social media. Are digital platforms helping create this phenomenon, or are they just the stage where it happens?
Platforms have a crucial role. They create the spaces for discussion, but they also have a responsibility to regulate content. They allow canceling to happen, so in a way, they're complicit in amplifying the harm.
I think digital platforms need to be more responsible, but they can't become the morality police, where every comment is judged and punished. The issue is how to ensure a balance between free speech and the need to combat abuses.
We're seeing that cancel culture is complex, with valid arguments on both sides. The question is, how can we find a balance between social justice and freedom of speech? Are we creating a just canceling system or just a tool for modern-day lynching?
I believe cancel culture will continue. It might be controversial, but it's a way to give voice to victims who were once silenced.
And I believe we need to find ways to improve dialogue without resorting to simplistic solutions. Canceling isn't the answer to all problems.
This was an intense debate about cancel culture, and now we want to know, what do you think about this topic? Is canceling a way to hold people accountable, or just an unjust form of punishment? Leave your comment below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to motivate me to bring more important discussions. Also, let me know what topic you'd like to see discussed on this channel. See you in the next episode.